Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TCCrew here with a new video for you. Welcome to What If Deku Could Copy Quirks, Part 16. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So we begin. How did you get here, hero? The hero killer asked. I killed a man and I destroyed a building. The next symbol of peace replied. Not very heroic, is it? Stain said. I bet All Might would hate you if he saw you now. How would you know anything, villain? Tokuda shouted. Shut up! The one guard said. Say anything, and you won't get a meal. Another responded. The mass murderer and one-for-all successor walked into their cell where they will spend the rest of their lives until the death sentence. Well, it looks like we have to get out of here, Mirio said. How would we do that? Shizomi asked. With our quirks, duh! Tintin replied. They have quirk-canceling bullets, dumbass. Stain announced. How did they get that then? Lemillion asked. From the people you were supposed to arrest with the rest of your agency. The hero killer responded. How do you know that? Also, are you telling me it was my fault? Tokuda questioned as the guards started to look in their direction. Keep your voice down, Shizomi commented. And I know because it was over the news about what you did and what you were supposed to do. And yes, it is all your fault. The heroes came back from their journey with nothing to show for it apart from a few low-life criminals put in prison. I said we go to the new mall while we wait for Night to give us the go-ahead, the pink girl announced. Alright, you can go, Aizawa replied from the shadows of the room. Mirai already said it might take a while. Izuku was on his morning jog. Despite his best efforts to ignore his phone, it was absolutely blowing up. Finally, he whipped out his phone to see what all the fuss was about. People had been chatting like crazy in the group chat. He stopped in the middle of the park and sat down at a bench. Ever since the sports festival, people recognized him. It was both good and bad. Adults seemed to have the worst reaction, while children younger or the same age would praise him. Izuku didn't mind the attention. He was scrolling up on the conversation, trying to get a feel for what they were all talking about. So a new mall opened, it has amazing reviews online, and caters to just about anyone. Izuku mumbled, reading. A few of his classmates were wondering if anyone wanted to join them. Midori decided to chime in at that moment. The conversation then descended into a fashion, what folks wanted to buy, and the cool hero shops. The green-haired boy put his phone away and got back to running. His morning routine was a 10-kilometer run, quirk resistance training, and then quirk combining training. The 10-kilometer run was fairly standard for most heroes. He could have upped the distance, but instead, every day he would just aim to improve his time. The quirk resistance had just been an idea at first. But after he remembered that he has the same drawbacks as everyone else, the training became a reality. Then he would practice martial arts, perform yoga, or do traditional weightlifting. This duality form of training was exhausting, but it trained two important things at once. Improving his quirk strength and finding cool combinations. No matter how physically tired he was, he would put his all into training. Izuku whistled, seeing everyone together. Wow, we're one hell of a bunch. Yeah, let the sightseeing commence! Uraka cheered. The mass of students broke down into 2 3-person groups. Students with similar quirks and tastes joined up. Izuku, Shoto, Katsuki, Mina, Tenya, Ochako, and Fumikage were all still in one giant group. Let's check out shoes. I need a pair or two, Midoriya stated. Same here, Tokiyami replied. I think I'll go check out the t-shirts. Are you coming, Four Eyes? Bakugo asked. Fine, I want to see if they have any Ingenium t-shirts. Ida followed the Pomeranian. I've got to stick with Ashido. She's my wallet after all. Uraka chuckled. Dusk was setting on the horizon, beautiful oranges and reds streaking across the sky. The blue had almost completely subsided. Izuku and Fumikage had spent most of the day going store to store, mostly browsing. Here and there they bought a few things. Along the way they had a chat with Kaminari, Sue, and Jiro. Somehow the resident rocker chick got him to buy a few band shirts and a leather jacket. Sato, Koda, and Soji were hanging out at an ice cream parlor. Sato had convinced them to order an odd but good combo. Strawberry mint with peanuts for Midoriya, chocolate blueberry with drizzled caramel for Tokiyami. Despite it being an odd combo, both of them were great. Hagugare, Momo, Mina, and Uraraka were all trying on summer dresses. The green-haired boy was conned into being the judge of a good-looking dress. A person entered the Freckle Teen Century Field so fast there had been no time to stop him.
Hello, Midoriya. It's been a while, hasn't it?
A familiar, sickly voice asked. He looked over at the Birdman. Washed-out blue hair, dried-out lips, a piercing gaze, and a pale skin. This man could only be one person. Shigaraki. Except Shigaraki held Tokiyami by the back of his neck. Izuku was ready to set his left side to fire and burn him until...
I wouldn't do that. I can sense the frustration in you. You might stop me, but he will be dead.
The man hissed. He relaxed. Sometimes cooperating with villains was the only route. What do you want? Replica asked in a harsh tone.
I was ordered to come to collect you by the big boss himself,
Tomura explained. Ain't happening, crusty man! Tokiyami shouted as both students broke free of his grasp. The people around moved away and called the authorities. What's going on here? The cop asked. That's the villain Shigaraki! Arrest him now! Midoriya shouted, but it was too late. The police officer was now just a pile of ash. Replica whipped his phone out of his pocket and phoned Aizawa. Teach, we have Shigaraki. Permission to use quirks. Do it. I'm on my way. Shota shouted down the phone. Duality! Ice and fire elemental form! Two creatures came out of the boy's stomach, and both looked like crows, but one was red and fury, the other white and icy. I'll kill you for provoking us! The red crow shouted. Could you please calm down? The white crow responded. Attack the crusty man! Midoriya demanded. Shigaraki started to run towards the exit. The ice elemental created a solid barricade blocking the exit, but that didn't stop Tomura. The ice disintegrated into dust and the villain escaped. After him! Izuku shouted, leaving his bird friend behind. The elementals chased after Tomura with Midoriya slowly following. Shigaraki had run them into the slums of Kiashi Ward, run down buildings galore. Not another hero in sight. This is the point Izuku should have turned back. But he was determined. His rage wanted to see the man dead. His pride told him he can't let this man escape. The mimic hero had caught Shigaraki down a long dead-end alleyway.
Not as heroic as I first believed. Stain was right about you. You're the real deal.
Shigaraki turned around.
But you see, giving up without a fight just ain't my thing. You were hoping for that, weren't you? Use self-defense against me. As you probably figured out, I'm not alone.
The alleyway behind Izuku started to heat up. He turned to see blue flame screaming at him. Izuku held up his hand, and a red flame just as large came out. The two flames collided and fought for dominance. Both users gave out about the same time. Honey is a free browsing add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, Kohl's. Whenever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these major sites, click that little orange button and it will scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. It takes 2 clicks to install Honey. Now, anytime you check out, Honey will scan the entire internet and find coupon codes for you. If there is a coupon code, they will find it. And if there is not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you are getting the best price possible, and there literally is not one available on the internet. If you install Honey right now, you can save like $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks. 10 million people use it. 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Hello, kiddo. Color me impressed. It's been a while since I met someone that could match my flames. The villain with burned tissue across his neck and under his eyes said. Izuku recognized him. Dabi, the arsonist villain.
Let's see what color his blood is.
A woman's voice called out from right behind him. Wait, behind him? He turned to see her, but it was too late. A knife dove into his left thigh. He lashed out at her. But she was too agile. His fury was only stoked harder. He pointed at her and shot a scatter of lightning, and the girl flew backwards. True Shigaraki entered his sensory field. They were perfect clones. Both of them sprinted at him. The moment he looked away, she was gone.
Begone!
Izuku held out his hand and swapped to explosion. He brought his fingers forwards to create a sort of loose cone. The blast came out like a tank round. The first clone was obliterated. Dabi had to dodge as well since the clone didn't stop the blast too much. Another shell was fired. The other clone perished.
You really are impressive.
Shigaraki ran at him. He leveled his hand at the man and hesitated. He didn't know if this would kill, but he couldn't risk it. The pale man came in with his fist and hit Izuku right in the ribs. He was strong for his size. The bone broke from the hit, then another pain. That broken rib had punctured another organ, namely his lung. Izuku jumped away, wheezing when he came to a stop. Another stab came out of nowhere. His senses being on edge let him dampen the blow. Instead of hitting his neck, she got his shoulder blade. A single broad explosion was sent at Shigaraki. Then he turned to face her. He reached out with his hand and sent her floating. Then a dozen Shigaraki repelled from the rooftops, their fingers slowing their fall. The decay effect wasn't particularly strong from each of the 12. No more than an inch of concrete was melted from where their fingers touched. He let go of her. The original joined the fray as well. The clones were but half as strong as Shigaraki himself. Still, defending against this many blows was hard. Letting off a lethal explosion or fire was out of the question. His psychic strength could only do so much before it was exhausted. Retreat sounded like a good option now. Dabi would make that difficult, and so would the psycho chick. He had to clear them away somehow. An area effect ability would work, but it threatened to kill him if he didn't back away. At this point, he didn't have much of a choice. Otherwise, they would just keep whittling him down. He swapped to Hellflame. Hopefully the Birdman, being a fellow fire user, would let him see the signs of burnout. The air grew hotter. Peepers and other low-temperature flammables in the alleyway ignited. Dabi analyzed the area and he saw the play. "Boss, watch out, he's going to explode!" The arsonist shouted. All 13 Shigaraki retreated in a heartbeat. Izuku held off a second, hoping a few of the clones would make a mistake. Unfortunately, no one budged.
I hope you like a bit of heat.
Replica deadpanned as the flames on his body expanded. The clones retreated further, much like a DBZ power-up. He screamed to the sky and brought his elbows in, fists clenched. His flames exploded nearly to the top of the alley, about 5 meters, 16 feet, in all directions. Everything had been reduced to ash. Izuku used that moment to swap back to explosion. A lone knife flew right at him.
Somebody to remember me by,
the blonde-haired psycho stated. The knife sunk into his torso, millimeters above his heart. If not for bending his knees a little bit before flying into the air, he would have died. The numerous clones of Shigaraki evaporated into this gray ooze. The rest of them just watched. The police had already cleared out the mall. He decided to go back on foot. While in midair, he pulled out the knife. It was a fairly normal switchblade. He pocketed the knife. He'll have to give that to the police later, much later. Maybe never if he really thought it out. Thankfully, he could see Aizawa at the mall and propelled himself towards him. Problem child. To wait, Sensei shouted. You made me worry.
Yeah.
The green-haired boy slowly walked to Shota. You have so many wounds. Someone, get an ambulance. Just then, Midori collapsed in the arms of his father figure. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the ittsslittt has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the ittsslittt, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye, and have a divine day.